All right, welcome back to Retirement Unplugged, where we talk a little bit about, retirement stuff and day-to-day things going on, all those kind of things, all that good stuff, right? So my guest today is...
It's all good.
It's all good, yeah. My guest today is David Cowart. David and I work together on the Galv line with Nucor. And we weren't on the same crew prior to that. I think when you worked on the pickle line, but at the coal mill, but probably where we first met. I would say,
Yeah.
But most everybody calls David Hoss, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anybody that doesn't call you Hoss besides the one that calls you David?
Not at Nucor.
Oh, really? Outside of Nucor I've never heard you called anything else but Hoss.
Family calls me David. I got an uncle calls me Rip. Just family, but everybody else it's Hoss. Carol McNeese actually told me one time. You remember when Carol was there, HR?
Yeah, she was our HR, right?
Carol told me one time that she had put. She said I had to write Hoss on all your paperwork because nobody knows who David Cowart is.
I believe it.
And I run into people, Walmart, grocery store, whatever.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Hey, this is my wife, Christy. Christy, this is... I don't know your name. All I know is Hoss.
Yeah. And I've probably asked you this before. I don't know, but where did that come from?
I hired in... Donnie Venable was our supervisor on the pickle line. I hired in on the pickle line in 2002. And Stan was supposed to have been in my interview, Stan McClellan, who was manager.
Right.
I had been called out there twice, supposed to be in my final interview, and the managers had got called into some kind of conference call on environmental permits or something.
Uh-huh. So this was at the beginning of time. Yeah, this
at the very beginning. I was supposed to be in the first group in July.
It's like 2002.
Yeah. July 22nd of 2002 was when I was supposed to start.
Okay.
Stan calls me like 2 nights before it. Hey, you remember how Stan was. He'd get high-pitched. I forgot you. I got your paperwork mixed up, and he said, I promise we're going to hire you, but you're going to be in the second group. Yeah. So it was August. I come in August 2002. But I had done my interviews, and I had got sent home once because they couldn't be there. Well, I come back that second time, and it happened again. But Donnie Venable come out, introduced himself to me, and said, hey, Stan said we're not sending you home again for me to interview you, and he'll try to get here before it's over. So we interviewed. Stan never did it. Right when we finished and stepped out in the hall, Stan was coming up the hall. They had got out of their permit call. And Donnie introduced me to Stan, and Stan looked at me and he said, you don't look like a David. You look like a Hoss Cartwright to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And him and Donnie, when Donnie took me down the pickle line in after orientation and everything, when we went down to the pickle line, Donnie just introduced me as Hoss to everybody. Hey, this is Hoss. This is Hoss. Never David Cowart. Never.
Yeah. So Stan didn't know that was one of your favorite shows, right?
No, that's right. He just guessing.
He's guessing, right?
Yeah, but that's how it started.
Okay, I just assumed it started long before Nucor. I had no idea.
I worked when I first got out of high school. I was working at Onan in Huntsville, which was building generators and gen packs that went in RVs and stuff. Those generators, you'll still see those Onan generators. But everybody over there called me Cowboy.
Oh yeah.
So because we had horses, I've always been around horses and cows and stuff. But,
right.
But we had horses at that time, and of course I wasn't married then, and so it was funny. I was Cowboy over there, and then I was Hoss at Nucor.
That's funny. They, whenever I worked in Arkansas for 5 years, and they called me Country. Well, most of them called me Big Country.
Yeah.
On the specific crew that I worked on, mainly a few outsiders, but I carried that name for 5 years, but it didn't come down here with me. in '02. It never stuck here. So,
Charles Casey had some names for you.
oh, I guarantee you he did. I had some good names for him. I really liked him. You know, he's retired now.
Did he really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
Charles, a good guy.
He finally gave it up. But so yeah. Anyways, I always wondered where that came from, and we've probably talked about it before. I just I'm getting older, and my memory's not so good.
A lot of people don't. They just, like I said, like you said, that's just what they've known me, because that's, like I said, Donnie never said, "Hey, this is David Cowart." Stan called him Hoss, or David Hoss Cowart, or whatever.
Yeah.
A few people will say that every now and then. They'll go, David Hoss Cowart.
Yeah.
But I got introduced as Hoss.
That's good.
That's all anybody knew me by. So.
That's good. I mean, hey, that's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Could have been worse, right?
And it stuck. So.
Yeah. Well, good. So, yeah, I mean, you were on the pickle line, and then you got to go to the cold mill pickle line for a little while, and then eventually ended up on the galv line, where you also retired from. We've been talking a little bit about plant life on some of our past episodes. Ethan, my son Ethan, was here last time. He's living the plant life, and you're kind of like me and like he is now. That's kind of all I've ever really known. I mean, straight out of college, I worked in the ag industry for a year.
Yeah.
Before I went into the plant life. And you've been working plant life since you've been out of school, right?
Yep. I worked the first summer. I graduated high school. My cousin, he's 4 years older than me. Him and my older brother was the same age. They finished 83. And that was right around the time I graduated, or right before that. The government had busted Ma Bell up, big communications company.
Yeah.
Said they were monopolizing the phone industry. So there was a lady in our community had started her own pay telephone company out of her mom and daddy's basement.
Way.
Yeah. She was 6 years older than me. She had graduated from Alabama and just had that, I guess, entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
Out of her mom and dad's basement, she started up a pay telephone company. My cousin Alan, he was working in a plant, working at Parker Hydraulics.
Uh-huh.
And he was laid off. But Alan was like me and you. We grew up on a farm. He could do anything. Was real good. I mean, electrically, mechanically, whatever he could do.
Yeah.
So Sandra got ready to start that company, and she asked her dad, and he said, "Well, Alan Kirby's laid off right now, and he'd be a good one. He can do anything."
Yeah.
And so Alan had to go down to Jackson, Mississippi, to transfer a bunch of pay telephone booths off one truck to another one. Used booths that we would bring them in and refurbish them. I had just graduated high school, and he asked me would I ride down there with him to help him. And so I ended up working the summer, putting in pay telephones, had to run wire and conduit, learn how to run conduit, just all that stuff.
What makes somebody go, you know what? I'm starting up a telephone company.
And she ended up doing real good. I mean, she grew. I worked there through right around the start of '88 or the end of '88, and then I went into plant, started working at plant work. Just it was better pay and
sure.
But yeah, company kept growing after that. She ended up selling out to a bigger company that had done the same thing.
Right.
But she did really well with it.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, the best part of it was just we were somewhere different nearly every day. Either collecting phones or installing them or repairing them or just following up on a customer complaint or something.
Yeah.
Somewhere different every day and dealing with different people. And like I said, I learned how to run conduit, learned how to run electrical lines. And
isn't it funny what people are interested in?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we sit and talk about a whole lot of stuff. Like I can remember at work, you're out there 12 hours a day and it's a quiet weekend. You talk about all kinds of things. Yeah. But imagine sitting there talking about, hey, I want to start up a phone company. Yeah. How does that even work?
Yeah. That's why I've thought about that. Well, I mean, I remember seeing it on the news. I didn't know. I'm 18 years old. What do they mean they're monopolizing the phone industry? That didn't mean nothing to me,
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess she had just graduated at Alabama, you know, a year or two before that. So
Yeah.
I guess that was
Hey,
maybe, you know, something.
she had big dreams.
She had big dreams. And, she
Well,
did-
that's good.
and she owns a restaurant in Hartselle now.
Yeah, she's still down there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, pretty popular restaurant.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's funny, when you talk about being an entrepreneur or whatever, it's like since I've left, and Christy and I talk about this all the time, since I've left, I've become more interested in doing things like that. I don't know. I don't know why. It's like the time that I was at Nucor or working a shift, that was enough.
Yep.
But now all of a sudden I've got some free time. I'm like, man, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're the same way or
Oh,
not.
yeah.
or-
Well, when you're working, and I guess you think about it more after you get out of it, but like the way we were working, you was working 4 on, 4 off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had to cover any overtime, well, now you're working 6 days.
Yeah.
And especially if you were on nights, because that night, you know,
Yeah.
you're working an extra half a day or a day.
Sure.
So you got a day and a half to do whatever you were going to do on your off days.
Yeah.
And then you got to be back in there.
Yeah.
And depending on, like when we started up the pickle line, when we started up the galv line,
Oh, working a lot of hours.
I mean, we worked, you know, 30-something days straight every night. You know, sometimes we'd work
Yeah.
straight through.
And that was an expectation.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like, hey, do you guys want to do this? No, it's an expectation.
They tell you that going in. Before you put in to be a part of this
Yeah.
project, understand.
This is a commitment.
This is commitment.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Which it pays off. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I say it pays off. You miss a lot from your family, and you know, especially for you. You know what time of the year it falls because your daughter was always big in softball.
Yeah.
Your son played in sports, and he was in college, and so you know, depending on what time of the year that was, you could have missed a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, and that's what we've taught. I couldn't do it now, but there was times where I worked off on a Saturday morning, off of nights, get off at 6 or 7, depending on, you know, what we were working. Drive to Mobile, set at the track all day long, watching Ethan do track at South Alabama or somewhere, and then drive back that night.
Yeah, hey, I'll
And
give
I
you.
couldn't do that now.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. But I'll give you some credit. You were one of the most dedicated parents when it comes to watching your kids' sports stuff that I've ever met.
Well, I appreciate
I
it.
mean, I can remember I walking in y'all's pulpit down there, and the walls covered with vacation. Or if you know, like if you didn't have vacation and you drove after a night shift. I mean, man, you were always there. Your kids can never say you weren't there.
Well, they had got older, and of course both of them were involved in collegiate athletics, and I had missed so much when they were younger,
Right.
and but at that point I had enough vacation, and the guys that I worked with knew it too, and they worked with me a lot, and they just like, man, you missed so much when they were little. I'm gonna try not to miss any, you know, now,
Yeah.
and so.
That's the bad thing about shift
But I
work.
enjoyed it. It made me. I would get upset when I would see people post stuff on Facebook, other parents,
Uh-huh.
and they'd say, "I don't have a life. My daughter plays college, travel softball." Well, no, that if you don't like it, don't do it. You know,
Yeah.
my whole thing. We enjoyed it.
Sure.
That was what Emily wanted to do, and like Ethan was on the track team in college, so. Man, I'm gonna support them.
Yeah, you dedicated that time.
Yeah, that was it. It was.
Because it's not forever, right?
That's right. It ain't forever. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I will say that's the one thing about shift work, you know, the amount of stuff that you miss.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking birthdays, weekends, holidays, all of the above.
Funerals, church events, just, yeah. Man, it's
a
you
lot of
miss
stuff.
A lot. You miss a lot.
Looking back, would you ever done anything different? When I say that, I mean job wise.
No, I mean, Nucor was, they afforded me the opportunity to retire when my last day working was January 6th. My last official day with Nucor was February the 21st. I had vacation to take me through the 21st. I turned 56 on February 11th. So So they let me retire on my 56th birthday,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
you know.
That's
so
a great feeling, isn't it?
I can't complain.
Exactly.
But there was, you know, it don't matter what it is. There's going to be sacrifices, and you just got to make the most of it.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell. Like my son's going through this stuff. You know, he works at Daikin, and they're forced over a lot. You know, and I'm like, hey, man, you know, just make the company work for you and do the best you can, because it's making you a great living.
Yeah, to be what I call uneducated. I mean, I didn't go to college or anything. Man, Nucor came to me. You know, there was so many people that moved to get to work at Nucor. Well, Nucor came to where I was at and paid me what a lot of. They used to put a thing out in the paper every year. It would just be a cross section of jobs from janitors up to CEOs of medical plazas or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would have the average pay. Well, what we got paid was very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
So for me to be quote unquote uneducated, and they afforded me, you know, a lot of stuff, and afforded me to do things with my family, and you know, we got to take some trips that I didn't get to do when I was a kid, because my dad was hustling, working 2 or 3 jobs up until I was in high school before he got a quote unquote good job, and so I was thankful for it. I mean, there's downsides in anything.
Oh, pros and cons.
Got to make the most of it. So,
yeah. So I had this conversation I was in the tire store yesterday, and the kid that's running the tire store now, I was talking to him, and he asked me about it. I said, man, yeah, shift work's tough. Plant life can be tough. You do miss out on a lot of stuff. I said, but man, you really need to look at this. You work less than half the year.
Yeah.
You're scheduled 4 on, 4 off. Now, I know it's not a perfect world and you cover vacation, things like that. But in reality, you're already scheduled half the year.
Yeah.
And then you take all your vacation and it's even less.
Yeah.
And like you said just a second ago, make the kind of money we made to take care of your families, buy the things that you need, and do the things that you want. And that's big, doing the things that you want.
Yeah.
You know, I would never knock that company for, you know, something like that at all. I have no regrets.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day about it, and I told them I said, well, it was changing when I left. I said, but I'd been there since the startup.
Yeah. What doesn't change?
It's inevitable. Yeah. Anything's going to change. It wouldn't matter if it was my own company. After so many years, you've got to change. You got to go with the flows, as they say. So
that's right.
Somebody coming in new, they're not going to.
They don't know the old.
They don't know the old. So
exactly.
And that, you know, it's just part of it.
Oh,
out,
yeah.
Out with the old, in with the new, and it's what keeps the world turning, I guess.
There are times, I will say, there are times now that I think about, not then, that I wished I would have maybe left a little sooner to do something different.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking about it now. I wasn't then because I was satisfied then. You know, I was able to, like you said, purchase the things that you needed to purchase, take care of your family, and do some things that you wanted to do. So why rock the boat? But looking back, you know, I kind of wish maybe I'd have stayed in the agriculture world, because I that was something I really enjoyed, but that was changing too.
Yeah.
And that's even changed more since then. You know, all my friends back home, they're in that business, and it's different.
If I wouldn't have went to Nucor, I was working at Wolverine Tube.
Yeah.
I was coming up on my 5th anniversary, and a guy that I went to church with, had known him all my life. His oldest daughter and me had grew up together, just church stuff. You know, if she ever needed an escort, I was her escort, and
Yeah.
and vice versa. You know, if I needed something, it was just the way it was. And but as I got older, him and I got to be really good friends. His name was Ray Baker, and Ray had been in several different businesses, had a little machine shop at a couple different times, was actually doing some work for Nucor, some small stuff. But he called me one night when I was at Wolverine and said, hey, you seen that place that bought out the old Trico mill? And I had a buddy that worked out there with Trico, worked for a contractor in the scrap yard. I said, I saw it, but I hadn't thought nothing about it. He said, well, that company that bought them out, he said, I've been reading on it a little bit. They're pretty solid. And of course, at that point, Nucor wasn't nowhere close to what they are now. I mean, you know how much they've expanded in the last 20 years.
Well,
It's
I would say,
unbelievable.
and I tell people this, to me, Nucor really took off around 2003, 4.
Yeah, right after they opened Indicator.
Yeah.
But anyway, he said, he kept on. And I said, Ray, I got a good job. You know, Nucor or Wolverine's solid. Been here since '48. They've never had a layoff. Blah blah blah. You know. And he said, well, as a favor to me, he said, well, just go fill out an application. Well, he knew. I mean, I had that much respect for him. He knew if he said as a favor to me, then I'm going to do it.
But why do you think he felt that way? Did he? I mean,
I don't know. He just he said he said I just think it's a good opportunity for you. He said I've prayed about it and I think it's a good opportunity for you. And like I said, me and him had grown close after I got out of high school.
Yeah.
It wasn't just he was the dad of one of my friends. Me and him had got to be good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said, I think it's a great opportunity of everything I've read on that company. So I go over to Calhoun, fill out the application, met Carol McNeese, met Dave Chase. And that was the biggest impression to me, my first interview. And I'm just going in as a production worker. They're not looking at me to, I'm not going to be a manager over some department or some big wheel. I'm just going to be a production guy. My first interview was with Dave Chase, who was general manager of the Decatur mill.
Yeah.
And we had that interview. We talked. Went real good. When I get hired, I'm out there on the floor like 3 or 4 months later. No telling how many people Dave Chase has talked to, during that time. He comes walking through, sees me. He says, hey, how's it going? Hey, good, just ready to get this thing going because we were just up and down, up and down. He said, do you regret leaving Wolverine? I was like, that's pretty impressive.
Hey, all those guys were like that.
And they were like, everybody was that way.
Yes.
They were bought in. I mean, they were in your life. I mean, it wasn't just, I remember interviewing that guy, I think. You know, I mean, that was impressive, just he was that bought in when he interviewed me that he remembered all that.
But there were some of those managers that were even better.
Oh, yeah.
Even better than Dave was.
Yeah.
And I knew Dave from Arkansas. He actually hired me in the hot mill. I hired in the melt shop, but he hired me in the hot mill. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. But anyway, that just
stuck with you.
That stuck with me, and went from there. Just had an opportunity to come over to couple of us went up to Mark Wigington and Carlos Payne and Bert Ashcroft. Went up to Berkeley. Like we hired in August, maybe September, October. We had to go up to Berkeley because Berkeley had a part for our pickle line that we needed. So us four made the trip up there, and that was the first. As soon as I walked in that galv line, it was just like there was something about it. Sometimes you just see things.
Yeah.
I saw that galv line, and it's the first time I met Tom Womack.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me. And anyway, we come back a few years later, and they start talking about maybe putting a galv line in Decatur.
Now, was this the first time you'd been to another facility?
Yeah, this first time I'd been to another Nucor facility, anything. So, but they give us a tour of the whole place, especially us coming from Decatur because we were the new guys.
That's right.
And they toured us through the whole facility, and of course Berkeley, they had beam mill and bar mill, everything.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they were huge. But we seen that galv line, and there was just something about it, And so get back to Decatur, rock on a few years on that pickle line, and I walk in out there in the White House, one that Stan's office, had that little white trailer we called the White House. And I walk in, there wasn't nobody in there, but I went in Stan's office looking for him. And they had wrote some stuff up on the whiteboard. They'd had a meeting in there, and they was talking about a galv line in Decatur. And they had some stuff on there that I probably wasn't supposed to see. And
I won't tell nobody.
But I got the feeling, hey, if they build it, it's going to be over at that coal mill we bought. Because we didn't know nothing about that either. We had bought that coal mill, from Worthington. And so as soon as I had the opportunity, it opened up when a job opened up on the pickle line, I thought, well, if it's going to be at the coal mill, I need to go to the coal mill and so they'll know me over there.
Yeah.
So I transferred over to the coal mill pickle line and was on the coal mill pickle line just short of a year when I got pulled out for the Galv project.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, if I wouldn't have been at Nucor and working on the Galv line, I mean, there's just been so many great friends that I've made, and folks like Michael Albrecht, they really stick out.
They do.
I wouldn't have never met Michael.
And our lives wouldn't have been what they are today.
You're right.
But you were talking about Wolverine. How long after you went to Nucor did Wolverine close?
It wasn't long. Within 5 or 6 years or less.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy that came to you, said, I think you really need to look at this opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
it's
I went
crazy.
I went into it with the whole, like I said, he just said, hey, you can always tell them no. And Ray's words were, and like I said, I had went to church with him my whole life. Ray's words were, just put in an application and pray about it. If you'll just do that for me, he said, as a favor to me.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And it seemed like every step I made with Nucor, because the first thing you had to do, you had to go out there and, of course, I had to fill out the application, and there was a small, little troubleshooting test, math with that I done at Calhoun that first day when I met Carol and Dave. Well, then if you got pulled from that process, well, then you had to come back and take that test that was like a 4-hour time limit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was pretty comprehensive test. It covered a lot of stuff.
I think I did so poorly on it. They just didn't tell. They're like, okay, don't tell him. Don't tell him what he made.
I've always said I think they felt sorry for me. It's like, hey, if we hire him, we can say we don't discriminate.
Exactly.
So,
I was glad they put a box of crayons in there next to my test.
So anyway, it was just like you take that 4-hour test, and then you had to go for a psychological evaluation. And of course, everybody that knew me was like, well, you won't get past that, big boy.
Yeah.
So, and then you had to go through 2 or 3 or 4 interviews. And I had to go through an extra one because, like we said at the beginning, I had got sent home because all the managers got called into that meeting. So I had went through the application process, the test, the psych test, and then 4 or 5 interviews. But it just seemed like every single time it was just falling in place.
Yeah.
Just everything was just lining up. And when Donnie did my interview, he got down toward the end of the interview and he said, well, I'm about ready to offer you a job, but there's one thing you hadn't done that I've never had anybody not do on an interview. I said, well, what's that? He said, you hadn't asked me how much money you're going to be making.
Okay.
I said, and I sort of told him the whole, just like I just told you about Ray and the praying about it and all that stuff. And I said, Donnie, I just feel like it's where I'm supposed to be. And that'll work itself out.
Yeah.
And he just, okay. He said, I've never had anybody.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm really thinking about offering you a job and I said, well, I'll offer it and let's see how I answer.
Yeah.
So he said, well, I'm offering you a job. I said, well, I'm accepted.
Whenever I started in 97 and going into it, I didn't know the ins and outs of the process and stuff. And I similar to what you did, I interviewed with a manager in the melt shop and some other folks like that. But after I got hired, I'm up on the furnace deck and I'm talking to some of those guys who are like, how long did it take you to get on? I said, from probably the day I put in to them hiring me, 2 weeks. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, why? What did it take y'all? One guy was like 17 months.
Yeah.
another guy a year.
It was
Another guy putting in multiple times before he ever. I'm like, really?
it was probably 5, 6, 7 weeks, I guess, from start to finish.
Yeah,
But that was a startup of the whole plant.
that's right.
That was
that was
a little bit different situation.
That was Nucor Decatur.
Yeah, starting out.
New.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where I started, the plant had already been in operation.
And and things being different, I found out later that one of the times when I came out there and got sent back home, I was going to be interviewed for the melt shop. And Sammy Williams came up there and he said, "Hey, all the managers have been called into a meeting. We got a conference call about our environmental permits." He said, "I can do an interview, or you can just come back and get your official one." And I said, "Well, I can come back. It's not a big deal." And I was working second shift at Wolverine, so but I was good. During the day I could come anytime I needed to. And he said, "Well, okay, just let me get your name and stuff, and we'll be sure and get you back. When a manager can talk to you." Well, Stan told me that he said if you would have been that, he said I was going to do it. He said, but we were hiring for melt shop.
Wow.
So say it would have completely changed
the scope of things.
Everything.
I mean, I started in the melt shop and it was tough. I did the work, but I got out of there as soon as I could.
Yeah. Man, them guys they're adrenaline junkies over there.
That's a young man's game.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about working shift earlier. How do you feel now that you've been off of shift? So I'll tell you a little bit, and I don't know if we've talked about it or not, but 3 months after I thought I felt good, 8 months after, I was like, okay, at 3 months I was wrong. I really feel good today.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Oh, same way. It's when we started the Gal project, we were on days. We stayed on straight days for a year or more, probably, from the time it started until we actually started breaking up into crews and running things. Because we were there, from the first time there was a hole dug in the dirt.
Exactly.
So I had a taste of it for that year or so, just being on straight days, and knew how you felt different. And kind of like coming off that pickle line, because when I was on the pickle line, we didn't have the pulpits or the control rooms, whatever you want to call them. We were just standing out in that environment.
Yeah.
And leave the pickle line, get over to the Gal project, and 6-8 weeks after I'm over there, and I think Mark Wiggs and me or somebody, we start talking about, man, I can actually start tasting my food again. You didn't realize
pickle line was rough.
Yeah, you just that acid was just in the air.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
So as Stan McClellan come out there one day when we were on the hot mill pickle line, he said, "Y'all gonna have to stop parking out here alongside the building." Said, "We're fixing to put in exhaust fans up there, and we're worried that, when that blows out, it's gonna be on your cars and leach your paint up." And I said, "Well, what about us standing here in it, Stan?" And
you'll be all right.
he just, turned around and walked off.
Yeah, that's not important. Don't worry about that part.
Yeah, don't worry about that part.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was I mean, they wasn't doing anything knowingly. They wasn't.
No, exactly.
It was just part of it. But
yeah, so I mean,
but no, it's different. You definitely, that swing shift is,
it's tough, isn't it?
Like just getting a cold or something. You don't kick it as quick because your body's just tired. You don't realize how tired and wore out your body is.
It's hard to explain to somebody that don't do it, but you're in a state of exhaustion really all the time. Yeah. I mean, your sleep schedule, your eating schedule.
And I never slept good anyway. Just everybody stayed on me about that. Just my sleep. I kind of sleep in shifts. I just a few hours here and a few hours there.
A few minutes here.
Sometimes. But
I've walked in a few times.
And but yeah, I've told several people exactly what you said. If you hadn't done it, you just don't understand. You cannot understand how you feel without doing it. There's no way to describe it. There's no way to replicate it. It's just without doing it. So.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed your retirement time so far?
So far, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I had a LinkedIn account when I was at work and
Yeah.
still had it. And I happened to look at it the other day. And what made me think of it is because early August would have been my 23rd anniversary.
Uh-huh.
So I opened it up, and Nancy from Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yeah.
Nancy Covert.
Yeah,
done all
Nancy
the Dale
Covert.
And Thad Solomon and a couple other people had sent me happy anniversary wishes. And I just replied back and said, well, I didn't make it to 23 years.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
retired at the first of the year. And Nancy and Casey Garrick asked me back, said, so, well, how's it going? You know, how you liking it? Man, loving it so far. You know, old saying, hey, water's fine, come on in, you
Yeah,
know. So, but I got a cousin that he opened up a hardware store out at Somerville.
Mm-hmm.
He's been building barns and rolls his own metal, builds his own trusses, sells those if you want to buy just material. But he's been building barns and fences and barn dominiums and whatnot for several years. And a guy came to him, and I think they've kind of went into one guy owns the property, and my cousin built the hardware store. And he asked me when I was right after I retired, I rode up to Missouri with him one Sunday afternoon.
Great state of Missouri.
Picked up a couple of coon dogs, and he asked me on that trip would I be interested in working a couple of days at the hardware store for him, because he was around all the time. He's a younger cousin. My mom and dad helped raise him, and he's in a lot of ways he's like a little brother. But he asked me, he said, I really need somebody I can trust and just, work a few days down there for me so I can get everything lined out with my other business, and then I'll come down there the rest of the week. So I've been working Mondays and Tuesdays. Every now and then I'll work an extra day, if he needs to go out of town or something. Like next week, I'm going to work Thursday and Friday instead of Monday and Tuesday, because they're big into the Dukes of Hazzard stuff. They've got like cars. He's got a full size General Lee. He's got Roscoe's cop car. He's got Cooters.
How do you end up with that kind of stuff?
He was at that. He's about 12, 13 years younger than me. So he was young.
He was knee deep in it.
Knee deep when Dukes of Hazzard, hit on Friday nights back in the 80s, or I guess 79 was when it started maybe. But he's grew up, just been a big Dukes of Hazzard fan.
Wow.
And, done well enough with his business that he could start dabbling in it, and it's turned into, man, they go to car shows and stuff. So Labor Day weekend they're going somewhere, I think, for a big festival or something.
That's interesting.
Man, he's got a trailer with all the Dukes of Hazzard memorabilia. It's like a little museum that you can go through, and got the cars. He'll, pay $5, get your picture took, and all that. The guy that was the mechanic on set for the Dukes of Hazzard, he met him at one of the shows somewhere one time, and they've got to be big buddies. Guy's name's Tom Sarmento, I think. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But him and Tom have got to be big buddies, and I think my cousin's is actually like his rep for the Southeast now. But Tom said that his General Lee is probably the best replica he's seen of all of them he's ever seen. He's put some cash in it. There's a lot of money in it, but it does look good, and they enjoy it. And Andrea's his wife's does the sales side of it, sells all the memorabilia and stuff, and they do really good with it.
Make it a family affair.
But the hardware stores, it's just, if you're coming from Decatur, it's right before the big, there's a big Church of God on the right before you get to Somerville. It's the red building, right? Southern Style Hardware, and we got a Facebook page.
Yeah, I was telling somebody about it the other day.
But it's we're business starting to pick up, and it's a good thing for that community. And he's selling a few buildings through that store.
Yeah.
People that hadn't even heard of Southern Style Barns will just see the sign and have stopped in, and so
yeah, he's picking up some business with it.
if you sell 1 or 2 buildings out of it a month, that's a
Heck,
big
yeah.
deal. So,
Well, if he needs any roll offs, I don't know if I told you or not. I bought a half owner of a roll off business now.
Really?
Dumpster roll off. Yeah.
well, I need to talk to him because he does keep one there at the store. So,
Yeah. So yeah, Travis and I bought a guy out.
Oh, okay.
So
Good
we
deal.
got one of those. It's an electric trailer. It's a gooseneck trailer. We got four dumpsters.
That's what Skolsky was doing at one time, wasn't it?
So, yeah, it was similar. He had the small ones, the little short ones. We've got 2 14-yard and 2 18-yard right now, and that's what I was doing at the tire store yesterday. Get some tires put on the trailer, but waiting for all the stickers and stuff to come in, put our numbers and things on it, all that, so we can get advertising. So we just finished that up this past week.
But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I had told my wife for years that I always thought I wanted to run a convenience store. Ideally, like a little feed store, because that was more my background growing up out in the country. But he said that about the hardware store, and I was like, man, that's awful close.
It's close enough.
So that couple days, gives me a little spending money and gets me out of the house a couple days a week, and I enjoy meeting people, and a lot of the people that come in, it might even be somebody that I hadn't seen in 30 years.
Right. And they're your kind of people.
Yeah,
that's the kind of people that are in those stores.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and so.
Good. It's good to do something that occupies a little bit of your time.
In for it, but
exactly.
If you're around Somerville, come see me.
What's the name of it?
Southern Style Hardware.
There you go, Southern Style Hardware.
Come see me on next week, Thursday and Friday, but the rest of the time it's Mondays and Tuesdays.
There you go. And if you need any roll offs, don't forget me.
Don't forget what's it?
TNT Dumpster Services.
Dumpster Service. There we go.
There you go.
We
Yeah.
got 2 plugs in.
So that's what I was talking about earlier. It's like since I've gotten out of that, I've tried to dabble into a few things.
Well, when I first left Nucor, my plan was, and you and me had talked about it, but my plan was I was going to try to do some bush hogging, maybe dig some post holes or till some gardens, things like that.
Yeah.
A few days a week, just enough, like I said, just enough to have a little spending money and, maybe pay for my insurance or whatever. But then when he asked me about the hardware store, I was like, well, man, that's in the air conditioning.
Yeah, that's even better.
That's even better. But I've still got my little old tractor and and the bush hog and the tiller and stuff, and I'll mention it to somebody every now and then. If the other 3 or 4 days a week, if they need something, I'll come. I can come do it. And but the retirement part, man, I've loved it. I can't remember if it was Matt Murphy or Jamaris there when I announced that I was going to retire, that they said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to work nights or weekends anymore. And I said, and if something's going on at church, I want to be there, I'm going to be there, So,
the 2 that you mentioned were the 2 youngest guys on the crew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how many years do those guys have?
Man.
Long time.
Yeah, because Matt's, 26, 27 maybe?
At the most.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
But, and both of them great guys, hard workers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, got great futures in front of them, but they've got a lot of years in front of them, especially. And we were that young at one time, right?
And that was the only thing I told them. They said when they was asking me about it, I said somewhere before you. I said my suggestion somewhere between 45 and 50. I said you need to start thinking about what's my exit plan. Mm-hmm. How long do I want to work? Do I want to work here till I'm 60? Do I want to work till I'm 65? I said, you might be in a position where, working to 65 ain't a big deal.
Yeah.
And those guys, on what your job is.
Yeah, those guys are in a great spot because they showed up when the facility's making some serious money.
Yeah.
And they have some opportunity to really, put back and plan and prepare.
Yeah.
We did too, but like we said earlier,
there was some lean years.
And Nucor to me really didn't take off until 2003-04 timeframe.
Yep, right around that.
So what I'm had in my retirement prior to that wasn't that strong, but after that, man, it really started rolling.
Oh, yeah, and there's a certain point where you get enough in there that it really starts.
Yeah,
it really starts making money.
Yeah,
you know?
the visual part. Then you're like, oh yeah, I see what it's doing now.
Yeah.
But and those guys they're young and they're at a good time in Nucor.
And I didn't know it. I mean, 6 months before I retired, I didn't even know. I mean, it wasn't even on my radar really.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Daniel one day there I think we were down or something, and I happened to be up there just talking to him in the pulpit, and he said something about he'd been talking to a financial analyst, and I said, well, how much is that? He said, well, it don't cost nothing, you know. They got them at the bank that I bank at. And he said, PNC, and I said, well, we got an account at PNC that my wife uses. And he gave me the guy's name, and I started talking to him, and man, next thing I know, he's like, hey, you're in pretty good shape, you know. And so it went from there.
Yeah. And then you couldn't stop thinking about it.
And then I couldn't stop thinking about it.
That was how I was. And I would say in the last year and a half, Christy says it's 2 years. I talked about it all the time. It's like once you really start looking at it and you really start thinking about it, now all of a sudden it becomes conversation with a lot of people, because we had a lot of people out there that was our age.
Yeah. Had been there for 20 plus. I mean, you got 20 plus years in. So
yeah, and that's what I was telling my son last week, a couple weeks ago. It's funny. My parents didn't talk to me about retirement. Didn't talk to me about saving money. Didn't talk to me about any of those kind of things. A lot of what I learned is from folks out there.
Yeah,
you know, because we had a wide variety of age groups.
Well, I think a lot of it too was like our parents' generation. There were retirement plans in place. You didn't have to think about it.
That's true.
You know, you work to, well, I retire, you know, Nucor's going to give me this much. So, you know, in the old days, there were retirement plans. But that's what we'd always joke around. We didn't retire. You just quit. Because, you know, it ain't like there's a retirement plan. But, of course, they did, you know, contribute to our 401ks and did really well with it. Profit sharing was great. I mean, it was great. But yeah, I think that was a lot of it was they didn't have to think about it like we did. They wasn't worried about managing a big chunk of money. They were just going to get a check every month through a retirement plan. So,
but I learned so much through guys that were, you know, that were going through the process, because there's a number of guys that went through the process as I was at Nucor, and I got to hear about those things. I'm like, okay, these are things I need to pay attention to. Maybe this is what I should be doing. You know, and then researching it myself, which I was always big on jumping on the computer and trying to research something myself just so I understand it, which, you know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but, you know, I try to decipher it as best as I could.
Yeah.
Or call, you know, somebody that knew a little more than I did.
And, you know, Nucor always had, who was
Calm Water.
You know, we could go talk to. And
I mean, they had some great things.
And I mean, they could answer your question anyway, if you knew what to. I mean, first time I went and talked to them, I didn't even know what to ask.
Yeah.
I just went because, hey,
they're here.
I ought to go, you know. Yeah. Because I do want to retire, you know, sometime before I'm 100. But
Nucor was good about, I mean, they sent us all to Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. Oh, which I've got no complaints.
Yeah. It's funny. Somebody asked me about the Dave Ramsey thing, and they were like, "Man, we can't follow that. You know, we would starve to death, or, you know, we'd put everything back and never enjoy anything." I'm like, "Man, come on.
Yeah,
that's not what it's about.
Yeah,
go to the thing, take out of it what's important to you and your family, and put that to use."
That's it. Is everything ain't cookie cutter.
Yeah,
you know, what works for you and Christy may not work for Laura and me.
Right.
But you got to have enough sense to figure out what's best for, you know, for your own situation. But I told everybody, Dave Ramsey, man, that's the same thing my dad told me growing up, though, basically. Hey, if you got $1, you can't spend $3. I mean, that's Dave Ramsey in a nutshell. But you know, that's a lot of it. It's just being responsible.
Yeah, using a little common sense.
Common sense.
Dave Ramsey himself lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion, so
that's always the funny part is he'll say, you know, don't buy it till you can pay cash for it, and like, well, you know, I don't have $6.7 million cash laying around. You know, so.
Exactly. But yes, I mean, it's retirement for me so far has been. I mean, it's been the greatest thing. And I'm like you. I'm excited that Nucor could afford me to do it at 55, which I turned 56 and I turned 56 in July. But I was excited to be able to get out of there, to look at it and talk to somebody, and somebody say, yeah, you can do that. I mean, that's a good feeling.
Oh, yeah. That when we talked to the guy at PNC that I talked to, his name's Will Weicker. Great guy.
Yeah.
And we went in, or I went in the first 2 times I met with him, and he asked me, he said, well, how serious are you? I said, well,
don't know yet. You tell me.
Yeah, exactly. I said, well, I don't know enough about it to tell you. I said, that's why I'm talking to you. I want you to tell me, can I pursue this seriously, or is this 5 years away? Or He said, well, if you can get me your financial stuff, is your wife still going to work? Do you have plans for, insurance, things like that? Well, I had a little bit of an advantage because, Ethan's an accountant. So I asked Ethan, I said, hey, I'm going to come over to your house one night and let you put some stuff together for me. So we go over there, and, man, he builds me spreadsheets with all of our expenses.
Right up his alley.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I walk in, and I give that to Will, and he's like, wow, I wasn't expecting. I said, don't think I did this.
Yeah, right, right.
And so he said, and I give him my, we looked at my 401k, opened it up, of course, with Fidelity, and we looked at everything, and he said, we've got programs and stuff. I'll put this through, and he said, what if we meet back in a week, and we can talk serious. So Laura and me went back that next week, and I told somebody, it didn't matter if I was on a ball team or if I was in a church meeting or if I was in a work meeting. I had never been in a meeting where every answer he gave me was what I was hoping I would hear.
Right.
And he got through, and he said, what do you think? After he said, he run all the numbers, and
you said, I think you're my guy.
And he said, what do you think? And Laura said, I know what he's thinking. He's fixing to retire. so and it is kind of a joke with us. Laura likes going to work.
Yeah.
She just likes that. And we always joke with her about, I'll say something, me and the kids will, look, the day we bury you, are you going to work that morning? Or, we need to make, what kind of time frame we're looking at for the funeral,
Yeah.
You going to work that morning you going to work till lunch, or, what time can we plan the funeral?
Right, right.
So anyway, but she's working, and it worked out. When I first retired, I went on the healthcare.gov, and I was getting my insurance. I had Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I done that for 3 or 4 months. Well, Heath sold his business, and a place out of Nashville bought him out, so their insurance and everything changed. So now I got to go on her insurance, and it's basically the same I've been paying anyway. So
yeah.
But anyway, I got on. So me and her's on the same insurance now. And,
so all that's already swapped over?
Yeah, I think she told me a couple of weeks ago that somebody come down. They was going to the courthouse, I think, to get all the trucks and equipment and stuff, titled over under their name. And
well, he's never told me 100%. I see him all the time.
Yeah,
and he's never told me 100%. So I saw him this morning, and he mentioned retirement, and I just kind of smiled and I said, "Is it done yet?" And he looked at me because I don't know that he knew that I knew fully. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I hadn't said nothing that wasn't common knowledge. But,
oh yeah, somebody else told me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they just. I think it's pretty much done now.
Good.
Like I said, it was last week or sometime. I think I'm almost sure that's when Laura told me that they had come down and was doing getting everything retitled into their name. American Landscaping or something like that. I think they're out of Nashville, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, that kind of, it wasn't a big deal. The insurance I had, it was good and it wasn't that expensive. But just having it, both of us on the same plan makes it, I guess a little easier. But
sure.
Plus, I don't have to write that check every month. It just comes out of hers.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah, it's even better, ain't? just physically write that check, send it to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
That's why I am with Christy. You know, I'm on her insurance now, and she's like, "Golly, you're expensive."
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you gotta pay for something, girl.
The spouse is a whole lot more expensive.
I wonder why that is. I mean, it makes no sense.
But
I don't know.
I couldn't. I mean, brother asked me, go fishing. I can go fit. It's
just great.
Yeah, it's great.
But I also think back to all the people you met working in a plant, all the different walks of life. I've met some great people. I've met some funny people. I've met some people that serious people. I've met some crazy people. I mean, it's just great.
What's funny to me is I worked over at Onan, and then I worked at Wolverine, and then, of course, at Nucor for 22 plus years.
Yeah.
And you can overlap the people.
Uh-huh.
Like this guy
is this guy.
It's just like this guy was at Wolverine, and just like that, and me and you same way.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was somebody like us that's in places too,
yes.
that our friends and coworkers are like,
they're laughing about.
Man, this dude reminds me of Thad, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
but I think back to all those people and the great people that I got to meet and work with, and it's just so many different views on things.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about as a crew working together and getting things solved or getting things done and getting people moving in the same direction and all that. When you got all those different personalities, I look back on that and I think how great that is.
Oh yeah, I was 30 early 30s when I went to work at Nucor, but man, I learned so much, and I mean, it was almost like I grew up.
Uh-huh.
And, it's just because of the environment, because you were kind of given some freedom to express your ideas, and
whether it's a mistake or not.
Yeah. You were given the freedom to pursue it in a lot of cases, and man, just being around, all the people, like you said, the different ideas, the different backgrounds, the different expertise and stuff, that just, man, I've learned so much that 20-something years. I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Just the stuff I know now that I didn't know going in, even as a 30-year. I mean, I was grown, had 2 kids,
mm-hmm.
but man, you just being around people and just it's very rewarding to look at it that way.
That's one of the biggest things that I liked about Nucor when I started was the freedom to screw up.
Yeah.
Because back then, supervisors, managers, it didn't matter who it was. They're like, yeah, try it.
I can remember Stan telling us over at the Hot Mill Pickle Line. He said, look, you're in here at midnight. There ain't nobody going to be here till 5, 6, 7 o'clock next day.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to see it. Don't just see it, He said, even if it's wrong, do something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Make a decision.
Daylight gets here. We'll do, if we need to change, we'll change. But make a decision and go. That's why we hired you.
That was one of the best things about it.
Yeah.
Making that mistake. If it was wrong, don't do it again.
Well, and I don't mind saying it. I said this to everybody we work with on the Galv line, and I've told you this before. When you came over to the Galv line in your role, and you brought that in, the ones that had been there prior to that had kind of got away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was, that last 4 or 5 years, we pumped out a lot of steel out of that Galv line. We did good. And you helped bring a lot of that in. I don't mind telling you that. You did good on saying, look, take your time, think about it, but make a decision and go. And if it's wrong, we'll figure it out. And then we'll back up and do something different. But
yeah, because that's how I was raised in Nucor, I guess. And I still carry those beliefs today.
Because even if you mess something up, but we could keep it running. Well, by the time we figured it out, all right, we could sit here and not run and lose money, or we could run maybe kind of wrong and make a little money.
Yeah.
So, well, we're a little money ahead.
That's
you
right.
know.
That's right.
So, I mean, there was times we might have tore something up, and it might have not been. It was doing maybe not exactly what it was
Yeah.
designed to do, but
I'm appreciative that those cameras weren't always in the best spots.
that's right. Yeah, this is pre-camera,
Yeah, exactly.
kind of like our childhood being pre-social media. We
Yeah, no
were
kidding.
pre-camera.
Yeah, exactly. I talked to.
I don't know how to get anything done anymore.
Oh, me either. Me either. I'd be worried to death that the camera's looking at me.
Be like amp
Yeah, yeah.
knocking that coal out.
I talked to
out of the
somebody
sky.
just the other day, Weatherby. He said that he almost beat Daniel's record, missed it by like 13 tons or something. Wow. Exactly.
That's good.
So yeah, I mean, that's another thing is people pushing to make
Yeah.
more, to do better.
Yeah.
Things like that. That was the other enjoyable part.
They used to say, I didn't hear it a lot last few years, but when I first hired in, you would hear a lot of, we're going to hire good people and put them in charge of their own paycheck. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what you did out
Sure.
there. You know, we were on a production system. So, and Stan used to say, and a lot of the good ones would always, hey, my job is just to get you the tools you need because you know how to do that job better than I do. And so it was hire good people, put them in charge of their paycheck, and get out of the way. You know?
That's right, man.
Because if Hoss is making money, then Nucor's making money.
Yep.
You know, and it went hand in hand. And
Yeah, I used to always say, dangle that old carrot.
that's
you know?
right. That's right.
Keep them moving in the right direction.
I had a manager. I worked up at a Walmart distribution for a few years before I went to Wolverine, and I was young. I was supervisor, manager. I don't remember what. Anyway, it was on the shipping dock, and we were sitting in a meeting one day. And of course, like I said, I was young. I was one of the younger supervisors there, and I was just all gung ho, and I was gonna make Walmart proud every day,
Yeah.
And we're sitting in that meeting, and old Rick Pyron says, "Hey, we're all here to make money. That's the only reason I'm here." He said, "I'm not here because there's a big W out on front of the building." And that was a big eye opener for me. It was like, hey, if that's the reason he's here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was that's the only reason I'm showing up, for the money.
Yeah, that's all.
And
I enjoy hanging out with you, but I'd like to make a little money too.
But first time that check bounces, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was great. It's I would say, I was there 28 years, and it's been a great experience. Learned a lot. Glad to be gone.
Yeah.
Happy for the folks that are still there making money, and hoping at some point they can be gone as well, right?
Yeah.
Live out the rest of their life doing the things they want to do.
Yeah, I hope everybody can be as content as I am right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you know me, I enjoy going to church and doing that stuff, and man, I can do that. And, if something's going on in church and I need to go up and help, I can go do it. I got that freedom, and man, it's just, it's great.
Yep, it's been good.
Been on a few fishing trips with some buddies. We rented a cabin, stayed a couple of days and fished, and it's just blessed.
That's right. Blessed is the best way to put it.
So,
all right. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in and talking, and just talking about work. A lot of people don't experience what we've gotten to experience, and we don't get to experience what they do, of course. But plant life can be tough. It can be challenging. A lot of things, but it can also be rewarding. And I kind of I really feel like if I was going to work for a steel company, if I was going to go back and do this again, that's the company I would work for.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're blessed. More than most, less than some, I guess. But
I didn't even read my statement I had.
no, did you not? Can you remember it?
Most of it. I am here of my free will. I was not coerced. I like living under Thad's garage.
You had to write that down?
I've I've been blinking SOS like Jeremiah Denton did when he was.
What's those hand signals you give? You know what I mean? Like rescue me or whatever.
Yeah.
I hear you. No, I do appreciate you coming in and talking.
I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, it'd be interesting. So
yeah, I like talking. I don't always want to talk about work stuff, but I enjoy talking about because we went through some of the same things, right?
Yeah.
Not everything's the same. We don't view everything the same, but we went through the same.
Well, we're close. I mean,
right.
We're the big stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I enjoy talking about that stuff, myself. But anyways, again, I appreciate you coming in and talking.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get off here and we'll see you next time. Peace out.